The Spanish announce table.
Tom, it is episode 341 of the Spanish Announce Table. We're going to talk some AEW Fyter Fest Night 1. We're going to talk some WWE Money in the Bank and whatever else comes up, man. We'll get wild and crazy. Things will go nuts. We're feeling weird.
It is a weird week, I tell you what, not only in the wrestling world, but in my world personally. We'll get to that later. But speaking of personal business that also correlates with wrestling, Tim, let's get an update on that MJF coin.
Tom, I am happy to announce the comeback is here, right? The rebound is here. The dip has happened. It is now at $227 per MJF. We're up 32% from last week's number, 74% down overall still, but that's a 6% gain off of last week's overall number, Tom. So to the moon, baby. To the moon, baby. To the moon, to the moon, to the moon.
Getting another car. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm doing.
That's a good idea. Another car.
We're buying everything. Dinner's on me. Dinner's on me. I got all the money. All the money. Dinner on me.
I'm shouting out to Big Josh in the chat. He says, "How's that MJF coin?" There's your answers. To the moon, baby. To the moon, baby. Tom's already. He's lighting cigars with honeys. Man, he's just.
Hide your money. There's poor people around. Look at that, motherfuckers. We got it all, baby.
To the moon. To the moon. So,
to the moon.
Tom, we welcome again everybody. Head on over to SpanishAnnounceTable.net. That's where you're going to find anything you will need from us, right? Social medias. You can go to our Shop Now button. You can get this fresh ass shirt that I just decided. By the way, these shirts are completely customizable, right? They've got all various colors you can change. We've got this logo. We got the black one you see right there. You can buy stuff. We've got stickers. You can get stickers. I don't know if determine what I'm going to stick this on yet, but we'll stick it. You know what I mean? And right now on the shop, they've got a 20% off store-wide, Tom, with a Thank You 2021 code. So do that. SpanishAnnounceTable.net. Shop now, buy some stuff. Support us.
I like it. Hey, so let's get right into it. As people know, this is an AEW-centric show because AEW right now is our favorite promotion and Dynamite is our favorite show. And last night was a special Dynamite. When they're named after something that I don't know what the fuck it means, Fyter Fest. Still don't know what it means. It was with a Y, by the way. Did you know that?
Fyter Fest. Fighter with a Y. Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is that? What is this fucking Bitcoin shit we're talking about? Jesus Christ, what's this? A TikTok trend? God damn. So, when they name it after something like that, after a TikTok trend or whatever the fuck it is, you know it's going to be good. And God bless America, slap my kneecaps and call me Calvin. This one was a barn burner. So let's get right into it. It started off with a title match that does not belong to the AEW promotion. It was the IWGP US title match. Jon Moxley champion taking on challenger, the over Machine Gun Kelly. See, that's how much I know of you, you fucking buff Bagwell. Machine Gun Carl Anderson with Doc Gallows and Don Callis. Now, Eddie Kingston came out with Jon Moxley and instantly said, hey, that big, bald, pencil-looking motherfucker, I'm taking him out with the pipe. And there they go. Which, side note, I want your opinion on this. I think this is 2 weeks in a row that still during a pandemic, we're not officially out of the woods, but 2 weeks in a row now, AEW wrestlers just running into the crowd. What do you think about that?
Well, Jon Moxley even, I think, just like shoved somebody out of his way to get into the crowd because someone was kind of like blocking the thing. I was like, yeah.
I just don't know if that's the smartest thing
things are getting worse. You know, they're urging people to get back in the mask. And again, like, fall will be coming around soon, guys. And this variant has not gone away. If you have not been vaccinated, all we can say is please do.
Well, it is, yeah. And are we trusting people? Have you ever trusted someone? Hey, we all grew up during the Attitude Era. Stone Cold Steve Austin, our Lord and Savior, said DTA, don't trust anyone. So, motherfuckers, let's not go into the crowd until we're, fully clear of this pandemic virus.
Jon Moxley's supposed to know that. He got the mask.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But anyhow, this match, pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily rewatch it if AEW streaming service ever comes out, but it didn't suck.
Before we get further into this, I did rewatch this because I rewatched the entirety of Fyter Fest Night 1. I watched it a second time. You know, the last time I watched a wrestling show for a second time. I can't even watch a full, like, old school, like, if you were like, hey, let's retro watch SummerSlam 93 or whatever the fuck, right? And I can't get through the whole thing, right? But this, I watched the whole thing twice. I thought the show was so good. Now, this match in particular, again, fine. They did their job here. Again, I didn't come away liking Carl Anderson any more than I did before. John Moxley's still over as fuck. I like it.
Here's my question for you, though, is obviously when John Moxley walked in the door in AEW, he was main event level. He didn't really go away from the main event. It was not necessarily him right in the title picture because him and Kenny Omega had their thing to kick off his John Moxley character in AEW. However, he's been main event this entire time, right? Now, he's lost the title. He had his feud with Kenny Omega to get that title back. Looked like they pivoted a little bit to go into the tag championships against the Young Bucks. They lost that as well. What do you see of John Moxley? Is John Moxley going to be the New Japan guy in AEW? I mean, where do you see him going? I would like
John Moxley to do something different. You know, like at least what Jericho did. He came in, he did something different. He started a new group with a new name, with like a new purpose, and and built up a new star in Sammy, and highlighted, a bunch of folks along the way. I think Moxley needs to get in something like that, right? If you're not going to go have the title all the time, or be in the main event picture all the time. Like if you're going to go through this, like, hey, for this year, you're going to play what Kenny Omega did for the first year, then, I mean, yeah, this whole I come in and I run my shoulders around gets a little played out.
Yeah. So John Moxley wins this match, right? He retains his IWGP US Championship. And then as soon as the match is over, the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer, says, hey, you beat me for that title, John Moxley, and I want my rematch. And so it looks like next week in Fyter Fest Night 2, we are going to get a Texas death match between Lance Archer and John Moxley. And here's where I think John Moxley is going to go. Because we're going to get this Texas death match. We already had the barbed wire exploding death match, right?
Exploding?
Well, it tried to. We also remember the John Moxley
sparkling death match
is hanging out in GCW trying to pick a fight with their badass Nick Gage. I think while we figure out this Kenny Omega Hangman Adam Page fun, I think John Moxley is going to just do a walkabout and just visit all the promotions that he thinks are fun. So he's going to go obviously to New Japan because that's the promotion where he holds the title. He might go to GCW, do some stuff with Nick Gage or AJ Gray or, Mance Warner, whoever it is. And then by the time he does this little walkabout, then it's going to be Kenny Omega's the champion or, Hangman Adam Page is the babyface champion. John Moxley's going to do a heel turn and he's going back against going up against the title again. I don't know. It just seems interesting, but I like it. So anyhow, Lance Archer will be challenging John Moxley night 2 of Fyter Fest.
Super excited for that. I like that. Again, we're going to stray away from the exploding aspect this time and do a Texas death match. Yeah. And I like it. It's good hype. If there's somebody that's going to I think that Moxley could take a loss to maybe get this title off him if they're trying to get it back to New Japan and he's not gonna because he's maybe going to be daddy for a while. A Lance Archer loss in a Texas death match is never going to harm somebody of Moxley's stature, right? So we could see maybe the title go then because they are talking every longest reign has to end somewhere, right? So.
And I honestly thought if he was going to lose, which obviously, again, he will lose someday, I thought it would have been a perfect time to do this right now. Machine Gun Carl Anderson, that then continues his feud with the Elite. Then Carl Anderson can take the title off of AEW, take it to Impact, take it to New Japan, have their fun while their champion is an AEW wrestler. So it would have been a good spot, but they didn't do it. And again, we're going to get an awesome match next week. As we go back into Fyter Fest Night 1, backstage we had an interview from Andrade, and he's cutting his normal, I'm badass and all that, but he ends with, where is the Death Triangle? Mm-hmm. I want to give them a message. El Idolo is looking for them. Now, what did you take of this? Did you take this, hey, he's going to go fight the Death Triangle, or hey, maybe we be a triangle ourselves and kick out that white guy?
Yeah, there is that, but then I get it. People hang out with people that look and come from their cultures, look like them and come from their culture. So it's not always racist to have all the Mexicans hang out with the Mexicans, but like there is that line you walk. Now, from what it sounds like in AEW, people kind of have a lot of free reign in doing what they want to do, right? So I would imagine if that's done, it's because they want to. But I can't imagine, unless Pac's got a specific thing, I don't know that they're necessarily going to kick him out, but I think maybe we're just going to get this Idolo versus the Death Triangle, maybe one by one, because all of the matches.
All the matches would be fun.
Yeah,
all the matches are going to be a car crash that I want to watch over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yeah, there will be flips and shit, and then there will be fists, and then there will be barricades, and there will be high spots, and there's going to be all kinds of shit.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. Whatever they choose to do, I think he's going after them. I saw some chatter online while we were doing our live tweeting at Table Show on Twitter, by the way, that he was going to join Death Triangle and again kick out Pac. But I think he's going to go against them because if you remember, he said he was king of the luchadors. Well, who's the two bad luchadors in AEW? Rey Fenix and Penta. So I think he's going to start with Rey Fenix, right? Because that's the younger brother. That's the more inexperienced of the two. I think they're going to have a fun feud. He'll get past Rey Fenix, and then at whatever the pay-per-view is, Revolution, All Out, whatever it is, then we're going to get Penta, Andrade, and oh, Jesus of Mary. That is going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah. I liked how they had the closed captioning when he was speaking English and Spanish, because he was running in and out that sometimes I couldn't tell necessarily. I'm like, oh, it's English again. Oh, it's Spanish. And I was like, I like that they put up the words so I could follow along.
I love that they put up the words, because one thing that I never really liked, to be honest with you, and I know he's in a high regard where it's almost blasphemy to talk against him, but when Eddie Guerrero would go into these promos and it would be all English, but then he'd slide in like 2 lines of Spanish, but then come back into English, I don't know Spanish. And, this is a very myopic way of looking at promos, but it's like, did you insult him? Did you call him fat? I don't know what you said. And I didn't have any translation. So I like what they did with Andrade, where he was going in and out, but the entire time it was like, this is what he's saying in English. Or, if you're watching in France, this is what he's saying in French, I assume. So
yeah.
I like.
Well, and it's not even to say that I don't understand it, so it's not, but there is going to be that barrier. If you go any country and have somebody speaking another language where the majority of the people don't speak it, there's going to be a fall off. You're going to miss some. Now, it doesn't even register with me, even if it's a line or two, because I'm like, yeah, that's something that I don't know. And if I really want to look it up, I could probably look it up or run a Google Translate and figure it out, right? But when it's a long-winded thing, I'm like, I don't know what that means. And it would be helpful to have at least a bullet point. So what he's saying, he called him a dick, right? You'd be like, all right, I got you.
All right,
yeah,
gotcha.
right.
Okay, cool. He doesn't like him. I thought
Right.
he didn't like him, but now I'm certain.
Remember, we got to play it down with pro wrestling. As I know we fight that stereotype, but it's the same with any. I think pro wrestling also bites themselves in the foot with this, we're not just for dumb people. And it's like, okay, but you still, when they write storytelling, they still spell it out because there's a lot of people who don't think that way. They just need it put in front of them, right? And and you're going to catch more people that way. So sometimes you got to just.
I like it.
The slowest of the herd, right? Yeah.
Right. I like it. It works for me. Fan of it. Hopefully it continues. Again, it's going to be a little bit more difficult if he cuts in-ring promos. But I don't think promos should be in the ring. But we'll get into that in a moment. Up next, we got the FTW World Championship match. The FTW champion, the Machine Brian Cage, versus, and I know it was his hometown, but good Christ, the absolute Ricky Starks. What'd you think of this, Tim?
Dude, the pop for Ricky Starks. And God, I wanted him to win so bad, but I really didn't think he was gonna. I thought it was just gonna play out that way. I thought, especially with the reaction, I was like, all right, they're going to be like, yep, we made the right decision. Let's go. All guns Ricky Stark. He's going to be the new Sammy Guevara. But it wouldn't have worked. I like this better, right? I like this a lot. I was so excited. I literally started jumping up and down at the result of this.
So I wanted to get your feedback on this because I wrote this on our Twitter page, again, at Table Show, while we live tweet during Wednesday Night Dynamites or whatever night Dynamite airs. We're going to be live tweeting it. And also for Rampage as well. So keep that in your back pocket for the future. What do you think of this FTW championship? Is it just a title holder of who runs Team Taz?
I think so, because like Taz even said, like, it doesn't, no companies ever recognize it, and that's how it always will be, and that's how it should be. But I'm like,
See, because if you go back, and again, I'm not trying to say like I am ECW historian, but if you go back to the birth of the FTW championship, it was because Taz, the character, felt like Shane Douglas was never going to give him a title match. So, fuck you, I'm the uncrowned champ, but I want a belt to walk around with. I'm the FTW champion. Fuck the world. I'm the FTW champion, right? And so he introduces it when he's Team Taz at the time when Brian Cage was challenging Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Before he got that opportunity, he got the FTW Championship. So at the time, it made sense. But now, I almost feel like in NXT, the $1 Million Championship, I don't know what the future of that belt is. And the same for the FTW Championship. I don't necessarily know what the purpose is, other than, hey, we got some guys here, guys and girls, whoever has the title, that's our leader. So it looks to be that case, because towards the end of the match, Ricky Starks tries to grab the FTW Championship to use it on Brian Cage. Powerhouse Hobbs is like, hey, no, fuck that. You're not doing that. Do it the right way. And he's like, what? You fucking bitch ass? All right. And so then he turns, they start wrestling. Then Hook gets up on the apron, and I was like, hey, ref, look at this. I got a cool haircut. Look at all these people. And then we get Powerhouse Hobbs giving a good old how's your father to Brian Cage. Ricky Starks hits a spear, which I thought was a little weird. I don't know if that's
he hit him with the belt is a point of contention too, right? Yep.
Yeah. Then hit him with the spear, which again, I don't know if that's your
that's his finish. Yeah.
I don't know. If that's your finish, get something new, in my opinion. But Ricky Starks is now the FTW champion. It looks like Brian Cage is kicked out of the group. Are you excited about this?
I am. I think Ricky Starks is a star, but I think this like character of being a snarky heel, the Rock Light or the Rock via 2021, right, is the way to go, right? And Big Josh in the chat says the FTW title is just like the $1 Million belt, and it kind of is, where it's this like, it's not really a title, but they're going to parade around like it's a big prize. And that's fine. Sometimes we need to manufacture a reason to care, right? And so if it's a shiny prize, fine, right? Now you can overdo it, right? Like, because it's also a point like you'd be like, nobody fucking. It's always there if you need it, right? Like where you could turn that into that's not even a real thing, and be like, yes, it is, and be like, no, it's not. And then you could make this story arc of how it becomes a real thing, right? I'm a real boy, right? Like you can do these kind of things. So I would leave it for now. And just have him bragging about it, because that's kind of the thing. People are like, who gives a shit that you beat one guy who just like was handed that thing anyway by an old man, right? And then he just, everybody gets mad about that, right? Now we got a new reason for Ricky Starks to fight somebody, right? So, interested to see. I hope they don't linger too long on the Brian Cage.
Well, I'm excited about the Brian Cage on his own.
Yes. I just hope they don't.
Path of destruction.
Like, I hope they cut this one quick, right?
I wouldn't be mad, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be mad if we don't have anything for either guy in, a year and a half. We revisit the Team Taz, Brian Cage fallout. You know what I mean? Like this constant always battle of Brian Cage, who was brought in by Taz and then feels scorned. We go back and forth. I wouldn't be mad if it's a longer term feud. But yeah, for the short, couple next months, let's just get in, get it out. Let's see where they all go. Because I'm also a little tired of seeing Ricky Starks always next to Brian Cage. I know they were tag champs or tag partners and all of that, but like, let's see you guys fight someone else.
Right?
Who else do you not like here? So we'll see what happens there. Now the next segment we got, you were a huge fan of. You actually messaged me and were like, "What a great promo!" We saw the Nightmare Cody Rhodes come out. First, he went to the broadcast table, grabbed the headset, and he was pissed.
Well, it finally felt like real and like a reason to care. He was like, hey, Tommy, call me, motherfucker. He was like, here's what we don't do. We don't act like a little bitch, right? I'm paraphrasing here. Yeah. And then he's like, you know what? This isn't working. Give me the goddamn, you know what I mean? Like, and I liked that it was like, kind of felt like sporadic, like really angry. And then it got lost. Yeah, then it got lost.
Nursery rhyme about a horse and some carrots, and a carrot killed a horse. I don't know what the fuck he said, but he said something.
This is what I'm fearing. Like, great story about a guy who killed a horse. So I talked to the horse, and that led us to here because the guy killed the horse because the horse didn't have it anymore, and you guys didn't have it anymore. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, nobody walks by people just killing a horse, right? Like, you're not just walking by a guy killing a horse. Like, people do that on their land or their property or whatever. Like, you're not just randomly walking by unless you're working at the goddamn butcher shop, man.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, is we've tried this storyline once with Cody, where, if you remember, Jake the Snake Roberts came in and was like, hey, you're soft. Now, his angle was, and we want your slice of the pie. Where this seems a little different is Malachi Black is saying, you're soft, and I guess I have to take you out, which I don't understand, because it doesn't... His reason for wanting to beat up Cody still doesn't 100% hit home with me. But
I still don't understand why he's.
If you think he's lost it, why aren't you helping?
You said when I looked in your eyes, it was gone. But like, you already flickered with the lights and interrupted the promo, so you were already going there to do something.
And I get it. Heels aren't supposed to make 100% all the sense because they're heels, right? They're a little off. So I'm trying to give a little bit of benefit of the doubt, but I also don't understand still why Malachi Black has beef with Cody. Nonetheless, let's get back to the segment. The lights go out, lights come back on. Cool little moment where they both just stood still. The lights came on and Cody just realized that Malachi Black was there. Malachi Black realized Cody didn't leave the ring, and so then they go after each other. Here's where I'm going to criticize. And I'm not, this is nitpicking. So please do not think like I hated this segment. I like this segment a lot. I liked every segment a lot, to be honest. But if you're going to have this pull apart, fucking fight each other. Don't be grabbing each other and slapping each other in the ribs and make me think like you really hate each other. Because that looked like hey, we're best friends, let's just roll around on the ground and play fight in the living room. Like, fucking get after it if you're going to get after it. If you want me to think you're getting after it, fucking get after it. So,
fucking get after it.
You know what I mean, though?
Yes.
It just felt like they're friends. They need to do this segment, so instead of, like, going after it like Brock Lesnar and Undertaker, they went after it. We're to the point where, like, are they really pissed at each other? This felt like friends who were doing a bad acting job of fighting each other.
Yeah.
That is a criticism, but again, it's nitpicking. It was fine overall.
It's fine.
Next up, though. Oh, boy. I love this segment. This was sneaky good. This was my dark horse segment of the night. Backstage, we get Alex Marvez talking to Tully Blanchard.
Yes.
And he gets cut off, Tully Blanchard, that is, by Santana and Ortiz. And first off, Tully Blanchard looking like a magician with that fucking jacket. Did you see that?
Like he was working the valet booth.
Yeah, like he was on his lunch break at the MGM Grand. He gets that's what I thought instantly. Anyhow, he gets cut off by Santana and Ortiz. And Ortiz grabs Tully's arms behind his back. Santana has what we think is a crowbar, I believe. Was it a crowbar?
It's a crowbar.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna
like you don't know, Tom.
Well, I couldn't tell if it was a crowbar or just a pipe.
Look, I understand the authorities may be watching, and there's active cases at all times, so you have to appearances. But
so Santana, though, puts his arm back to hit Tully and then goes, you idiot, this is fake. We were raised to respect our elders. He goes, but your boys are going to get it. And I do like that Tully didn't act shook and, oh my God, my pearls. He was like, no, okay, all right, motherfuckers. Like, they're going to come for you.
I'm going to get them. Yep.
Yeah. I liked the fire from both sides in this segment.
I like that, like the passive aggressive, like, you're old, we don't need to fucking beat you up. It's just like, yeah,
but that's the message,
old.
right? Like, we could. Your guys
could have killed you
bitches.
today.
Yeah, because the message was two fronts. Like, one, We can take you out whenever we want. And 2, FTR are a bunch of bitches for beating up an old guy like Conan, right?
Right.
So, like, we're better than that. So you feel like shit, and then also you feel threatened because now they can get you at any time.
That's a good point. Right. Like,
Very
we
good.
didn't do to you what your punk asses did.
Right.
It's our boy. Yeah.
So I'm excited. And again, this one, of all the Pinnacle and Inner Circle, this feels almost separate than that. This feels like it's personal. Like, it doesn't matter that both guys were in a group called the Pinnacle and Inner Circle. These two teams would have a beef whenever, right?
Well, they might always. I mean, again, they are very distinct personalities that don't hang out together normally, right? Like, you might see them at a car show talking to each other about something, but that's it, right? Like, they're not calling each other up for beers.
Yeah, it almost feels like however their motives change. For example, if FTR starts to align themselves with Jericho, and let's, for whatever reason, say that Santana and Ortiz align themselves with MJF, like, those two teams are still going to hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
They're always going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Always. I like it because when FTW like can like start to get out of like hang with how great they are and fucking whatever, like they could always be like there to be like, listen, bitches, like, we know. Yeah. We know how this ends, right? We know. Why don't you just cool it? And then they just I would hope these guys' rivalry for their entire time in this company.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be great. Now let's get to the segment of the night. Oh my God. You talked about rewatching a show and being so happy with it. Tim, I put it again on our Twitter page at Table Show. I did not lie. I jumped up and down like it was 1998 Attitude Era, and I'm 14 years old, just 100% in on pro wrestling. This segment was so good. What segment am I talking about? I am talking about Tony Schiavone doing an in-ring interview with the #1 contender, Hangman Adam Page. Oh. This
it was so great.
Chef's kiss
so
of the week. Tim, this was great on so many levels. I think we could do a whole podcast episode about this segment, but let's paraphrase a little bit of how we felt about it. So first off, Schiavone's like, hey, Kenny Omega says, you can't really do this. Again, we're just hitting the highlights here. And Page says, since day one, I wanted to be the AEW champion. I failed. Now I have worked my way back, and Kenny Omega, I am. And then boom, we get the Elite come out. And look, longtime listeners know I fucking hate the Young Bucks. And I do.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh. Great performance at a Young Buck.
This was good.
Yeah.
This was good. So we instantly get Nick Jackson just being the douchiest of douches, not
looking like a middle school science teacher who gets busted for inappropriate tweets. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He looked like a 20-year-old still going to high school.
Inappropriate DMs, if you will, with the students. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. He looked like a Hot Topic manager who's still just hiring underage girls because they're qualified.
He owns 3 taco trucks, but like he outfits them all with like 15-year-old girls, and you're like,
Yeah, he skateboards at the local skate.
And he calls it Jose's Tacos, and you're like, you're not Jose? Yeah.
So he cuts his douchey promo, right? He cuts his. But then
the Good Brother 2 gets in on there.
Yeah, Good Brothers, you're not the guy, right? And then Matt Jackson.
Which is great. He's like, you're not the guy, pal. Like, you're just not the guy. And it's like, yes, he is the fucking guy, pal. He's the fucking guy.
And by the way, side note, this crowd, like I mentioned for Ricky Starks, out of this world.
One of the best crowds in a long time.
This crowd, great job. Great. Where were they? Dallas? Houston?
Was it?
Austin?
Wasn't it Miami?
Texas.
Dallas.
No, they're in Texas.
Oh, it was Texas. That's right. Yeah, it was Texas.
Yeah.
It was
one of those Texas cities.
Yeah.
Did a great job.
There's only a few cities in Texas, so it's one of those.
Yeah, that's a cult state. Anyhow, but Matt Jackson comes into the ring, and he goes, hey, remember us? And Hangman's like, you motherfucker. Yeah, duh, I do. And then he goes, we used to be best friends, but we're not anymore, and I still smell the alcohol in your breath.
He was so douchey in this. Just leaning into him.
Yeah.
Making him feel bad.
And then one of the lines of the night was, but let's face it, you're the next great wrestling trend.
Oh.
Ooh.
What I love, he's like, what, are you going to hit me? You ain't got the balls. And
he does. And so here we go. This is where I jumped out of my seat.
Oh, yeah.
Hangman's like, I'm done with this shit. I'm kicking all your asses. So he's cleaning house, right? Takes out that fat guy, takes out that bald guy, takes out that...
Takes out both the motorcycle mechanics.
Yeah, takes out the mechanics, takes out the Hot Topic managers, and he's like, fuck this shit, I'm ruling the world. He doesn't realize that the ultimate D-bag is right behind him with the title belt.
He's sounding great, too. Like, he's tiptoeing all excited, like, I'm going to hit this guy.
Like, I've been waiting to fuck you up for a long time. And as soon as Kenny Omega takes a step forward, everyone's favorite group of dorks, the Dark Order, runs in and is like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. And Kenny Omega's like, you nerdy motherfuckers. I swear to God, I'm going to piss all over your Dungeons & Dragons set when I get home, you cocksuckers. And then he goes out. Now.
I think that's what he said.
I feel like that's what he said. Now we get a challenge. Hangman says, hey. Or no, excuse me. The Elite says, and again, we'll paraphrase here. Hey, elimination tag, Elite versus Dark Order. And
5-on-5.
Order, 5-on-5. And then Adam Page says, yeah, all right. And then when we win, our guys get a tag team championship. I get my World Heavyweight Championship. Kenny Omega's like, well, that's all lose for us.
Yeah.
Like, what benefits us? How about this? If we beat you, whoever, lose your tag team championship shot. And then Hangman, you lose your heavyweight championship.
Yeah,
shot.
walk away from it.
This is the thing that you fear the most, is failing in front of everyone. So Tim, the Dark Order running in, just the best friends in the world. I mean, the best friends are the best.
Solid
friends,
dudes.
Great guys here.
Yeah.
And then just the layers on layers on layers. Kenny Omega and Hangman have still yet to fight each other this entire time.
I love it, but I love that, like, Hangman's finally standing up for him. He even said, like, the Dark Order does not back down from a fight. Like, he stood up for them.
Well, hold on. The way he said it, though,
I know it.
made it sound like
he's in the Dark Order. I know. I'm down for it if he is.
Oh, this is so great. I cannot wait. Oh, yes. So the segment ends with Hangman Adam Page saying, Kenny, the Dark Order doesn't back down from a fight. And then we end the segment. I cannot wait. I don't know when this 5-on-5 match is going to happen. Hopefully it's right
next week?
now. I don't know. I haven't seen when.
Fyter Fest 2.
I'm so pumped up for this.
Yeah. The whole segment just, again, I rewatched that several times. You know what I mean? I had just got done telling my daughter earlier because she saw me watching some Hangman stuff, and I was like, this is the guy right now. Like, this guy has got the pro wrestling thing down. Like, I told her the whole story of, like, the positivity from the bros and the, like, it's okay to fail and, like, the non-toxic masculinity of it all. And, like, it was great. And, yeah, just watching this all play out is, and the crowd loves it. That the crowd loves it is one of the best things.
Everyone loves it. In 2021, I have yet to see anyone go like, you know what I've had enough of? Hangman and the Kenny Omega story. Nope. I seriously, like, you can say criticisms of all storylines. The Roman head of the table might be hitting the same note a little bit too often, right? We're doing the same thing with Jimmy that we did with Jay, so, all right. But, and then we're getting to Chris Jericho and MJF doing great, but a beat too long. You know what I'm saying? We can criticize, but I'm being serious. I'm not like hyperbole here, and I'm not just saying it because I'm excited, but like, I haven't seen a miss so far from this Hangman story.
It's been great. It's been so
awesome.
good. And just like that everybody gets all the weaving in and out. Like, it's not lost on anybody. You don't have to really over explain it. People just feel it. It feels wholesome and just good. Like, it's weird to have an actual, like, baby face and the heels, you know? Yeah, it's great.
It is just perfect right now. So now let's move on. After that segment, Alex Marvez backstage again, interviewing Chris Jericho. This one was okay. I don't know what Chris Jericho's Greek mythology now is a part of the MJF and Chris Jericho story. I don't know why. You're wearing a fucking biker jacket. Whatever. So anyhow, Greek mythology. Yeah. Sean Spears ambushes Chris Jericho. And MJF is like, ha, ha, ha. Didn't see that one coming, did you, bitch? Hey, by the way, your first labor of Jericho or whatever the fuck it's called is going to be you versus Sean Spears. Sean Spears can use a chair. You cannot.
Yeah.
So, as we talked about last week, I thought you should have done, you're going to have to face Jake Hager. They didn't go that route. They went the logical way, which again, I'm not criticizing at all. I like this, though. The chairman gets to use a chair. You do not.
I like that little added thing. Like you're saying, we're going with the obvious answer for how this had to play out of who the opponents are. Then the twist is it's not a chairs match. I mean, it is. The chairman gets to be the chairman.
Yeah.
You fuck off. Right? So.
Yeah. And that's a great move by MJF. He's like, yeah, we're going to do a chairs match, except for it's not for you. It's only for him.
Yeah. I like it. And again, we've got to get through all this. So we're going to get through all this, right? He's going to beat this guy. He's going to find a way to use the chair when the ref ain't looking too. Like, you know what I mean? He's going to get his Jericho spots in, and it'll be fine.
Or Jake Hager's going to use the chair on Sean Spears. You know, we'll figure out something here.
Yep.
But yeah, so we'll get that coming up soon. Then we move on. We get back into the ring, and we get, oh, man, 2 upstarts here. Tell you what, the future is bright for these 2 guys. Matt Hardy took on Christian Cage.
I think a little more work on the dark and the dark elevation, these guys might make something of themselves.
I tell you what, I really see some potential. Maybe they should join some tag teams. I think that's really
and look, we said this. They put on a good match. There was no doubt these guys were going to do everything they needed to do to make it interesting and tell the story of the match. But,
I felt like this was a good match if you were at the show. Right? So, like, if I went to this show last night and then I go to work tomorrow morning and they're like, hey, how was the show? I'm like, hey, do you guys remember Matt Hardy and Christian? I saw them wrestle last night. Oh, really? Yeah. Like, that's what it was good for.
Now, I think it's great for if you're catching channel surfers and, like we said, we want to catch people going like, oh, look at that. But then I would have put it, like, right before the spot you want everybody to see, which would have been the Hangman saga unfolding, right? Like I would have like, okay, now that you saw that, watch this, like right out of that match into like the biggest thing of the night. But hey, the match was good and it was fine.
Good. And the placement of it was fine. Again, we'll talk about placement of this show here in just a minute. But afterwards, Christian Cage beats Matt Hardy. Afterwards, the Hardy family comes out to beat up Christian, and then Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy jump in the ring, and the Hardy family goes running off. Looks like maybe we'll get a 6-man tag out of this. Maybe Private Party and Matt Hardy versus Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Christian Cage. I'm curious to see where this Jungle Boy Christian Cage thing goes. Because pro wrestling lore would tell you someone's turning on someone.
Yeah.
But they might be I'm speaking of is the AEW writing team here, creative. They might be of this the like of like how New Days never broke up and they never will kind of thing, where they're just like, no, they're just friends and then they're just gonna go separate ways. But what do you think?
Yeah, it is interesting. Now we might get the face versus face at some point, like Christian's outworking everybody, and then he's like, I mean, I need some the top level talent. I need somebody like bigger than me. I need somebody stronger than me. I need somebody like wise. I need somebody who's been around for a while. And then he kind of looks up and there's this dinosaur doing dinosaur things and he's like, I got it. Right? Yeah. And he has to convince him, right? But then he finds a way to, you know what I mean? Like make the dinosaur look good. But, I can see that going on just as easy as well.
Yeah, I'm curious because it feels like we're getting the start, even though we're in this Matt Hardy family versus Jungle or Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. I think we're actually getting the start of a Christian Cage Jungle Boy feud. But we'll see where this goes. Next up, we had Tony Schiavone in-ring interview the AEW Women's World Champion, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I like this segment a lot.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. One, Britt Baker killed her promo.
Oh, God.
Absolutely murdered it. And again, another person with the crowd that was just over to the moon, just like our Bitcoin, our MJ of Bitcoin. Britt
to the
Baker,
moon, baby.
To the moon. Now, here's what I like the most, though, about it, is we got some backstage shots of Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero watching Britt Baker doing this promo. And as soon as Britt Baker's done, right, DMD, Nyla Rose is like, fuck you, bitch. Like, you don't get time to shine. It's still about me.
Yeah, Vicky Guerrero was like screaming over the music and threatened to shove a jalapeno up her ass, I believe. That was a thing.
I think that was a thing.
Hey, the DMD promo, though, let's dig into that.
Yeah,
I mean, she said, like, you're the top of the food chain, but I'm off the menu because I'm special order. Like, came at her about her last name. And,
Vicky
like,
Guerrero,
I mean, Jesus was just throwing fucking hammers out and is just doing it with a swagger and a confidence that's unmatched in a lot of pro wrestling, period.
Definitely. Yeah, I thought both did well because, again, Nyla Rose was going to have to take a back seat because Britt Baker was in the ring and got the crowd pop. So you weren't going to get that with Nyla Rose. But I like that Nyla Rose was like, no, you're not just going to talk shit and let me sit here and take it.
Did we see two people watching television at an angle? I thought that was I thought that was taboo. I thought that was uncouth. I thought that was uncouth. You know, that's what kept sticking out to me. It was like, oh, I thought we made fun of this. I thought we didn't.
We do that at the other.
We didn't highlight this. Like, we make fun of that. Right.
Yeah. Good point, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
That stuck out to me a lot. I was like, oh, look who's
watching.
Look who's setting up fucking television cinematography, like, in a way that makes sense for the fucking camera so everybody can see it. Everybody's face to the camera. Go figure.
Go
figure.
So after this, we did get the backstage response from Jon Moxley to Lance Archer, where essentially he's like, yeah, I'm going to fuck you up. Again, nothing too crazy, just Texas born, Texas
But I like
bred,
it too where he's like,
Texas dead.
This is another one of the Moxley kind of signature, like, hey, look, we all get it. This guy could rip me in half and eat my insides. So the only chance I got is go in there and fucking elbow everything I see and just fucking try to fucking murder the guy on my way and try to escape. And that's see ya. I'll see you then. Right?
Yeah, it had a lot of the same vibes as when Jon Moxley was the champion and Lance Archer was challenging for the title, where Jon Moxley back then was like, yeah, everyone dies. I'm going to die eventually, but you ain't taking this title from me unless I die. You know, so a lot of the same here. But again, looking forward to next week's Texas Death Match. Got a little shout out.
Yeah, buy the shirt. Buy the shirt. Go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net. Shop now.
There you
Click
go.
the link.
If you're watching the
Buy the shirt.
YouTube channel, you know what we're talking about.
Hey, this shirt's cheap, by the way. We get a cut, but not like a huge cut. So, like, this way you get something for your money. You help donate the show. If you don't want something for your money, there's a donate link, too, if you just want to give it directly to us. We'll get more of that. We'll get all of that. Yeah, you can be a beer sponsor of the week. You can send us money and say, go buy some beer. All kinds of stuff for you to do. Yeah. On with the show.
All right,
Sorry.
So let's get back into the show. So we get the Spanish God, Sammy Guevara, taking on, I guess, the best friend's protege, which I did not realize, Wheeler Yuta. This was a showcase match, I think, for Wheeler Yuta to be like, hey, he's a guy, right? He can.
This guy's good. And we go,
right.
Yeah, he's good.
But it was still like Sammy Guevara is the fucking man.
Yes, and I like that.
Another guy with a major pop, Texas guy. There.
Oh, yeah. Now, I liked, that Sammy's still going over, but they make this kid look good, this Wheeler Yuta, and fine. I'm worried about diluting the best friends at this point. You know what I mean? Like, if we're going to have another.
Well, if we're breaking kayfabe, let's break kayfabe for just a quick second. Trent had neck fusion surgery. So we don't know if Trent's coming back.
Ever.
Right.
Right.
So if Chuck's going to hang out, he's got to have a best friend. So if we're going to transition, okay. But to your point, it was the best friends. Then we added Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Now we added Statlander.
Now, DX did this too, right? Like, so if there's two guys in their tag team and one guy's going to continue with the brand name because you don't want to, like, lose that merch thing, then it's weird if you just replace the one guy because then people are like, so you just make it like a group, right? Like, now it's a bunch and it's a faction, and that's fine. I guess we'll roll with that. But this match again, fine, not my style, right? There's a whole lot of this, like, Wheeler has got to, like, position himself at a 45-degree angle instead of a 32 while Sammy's going to the top rope. And I'm like, why are you doing that on the mat? Like, you just lose me. I'm like, guys, I can't do this, right? Like, a whole lot of the hand holding, that kind of stuff where great athleticism can do things I can't do.
Right. But
that's,
you lose me.
You'd be better fitted for Cirque du Soleil if you're just trying to show me things that I can't do with my own body, right? Like, I want a story for why you guys are fighting.
Yeah, and that, how's the best way to say that? When you do the hand-holding, or like how you describe waiting for the spot to happen, it's as if you're watching an action movie and you see the wires holding up the action star. It takes you out of the moment.
I'm thinking of a very specific spot where Sammy's in the corner, right, and they traded some spots or something. Now Wheeler's like laying on the ground. He's got to wait for Sammy to go up top and hit his move. But Wheeler realizes he's a little out of position. So he just starts like kind of doing the little shimmy to get at the right angle. And I'm like, don't do that. Let Sammy can handle that in air. Or like, don't do that. Like, somebody needs to be talking to some of these folks where like, that's the stuff that I'm talking about, like where the Young Buck style and this kind of like flips and shit bothers me. It's because you guys don't have the timing down. And I'm telling you, it's near impossible to get the timing down because like stuntmen get the timing down because there's fucking cuts and there's editing. Like, that's what they mean by slow it down, is because you're doing it too fast where you guys can't connect at the right time without fucking breaking each other's faces. So, like, fine. This was an athletic show of greatness, and Sammy gets to look hot shit and be like, look at my dick.
In
But
his home state. Yeah.
But that was it for me.
Right. And so, Tim, that was that match. And right before the main event, you know what time it is. The fucking women got around.
Women right before the main event. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Guys, please someone watch this or listen to this. You can put these women who had a very good match at the start of the show.
Christian and Matt Hardy could have been second before the main event.
That's what I'm saying. You could have put this at the start of the show, second segment, anywhere but the main event because it didn't have a story.
You could have put Hangman, this thing right before the main event. You could have put that. You know what I mean?
You don't have to always do a women's match before the main event. Stop it. Because you guys, again, AEW, are becoming what WWE used to do with the women in the 90s, where, hey, we just had a fun segment right before the main event. Go get your piss. Go get your sodas. Go take your piss. Go do whatever you need. It's the piss break match, which we fought so hard to stop with women's wrestling, and you're just going right into it. Now, it's not bra and panties, right? I'm not saying it's that, but it isn't memorable. I'm not going to go watch this match again. Anyhow, let me get to what the match is before I go on too far. It was the Magical Girl, Yuka Saki, nailed it, versus Penelope Ford. Here's what I'll say about this. This is not me being pro-American, foreigners, you guys all fucking suck. It's not that at all. But I said on our Twitter page, @TableShow, Penelope Ford should have won this.
Yeah.
Here's why. It has nothing to do with her being the white American girl. If you go through again, this whole match card, it was babyface Jon Moxley won. Babyface Christian Cage won. Babyface Sammy Guevara. Even though it was a turn, it was still his hometown, so pseudo babyface Ricky Starks won. It was all just cheers and cheers and cheers. No heels came out looking good. So I thought this could have been your spot where it's like Penelope Ford, still that dastardly heel.
Well, yeah. And I mean, like, I get whoever's booking this stuff as a type. They like their really short Japanese women. Like, it's
but I told you, so does the IWC.
So does IWC,
right?
But that's what I'm mad at the wrestling fans, I guess, because, like, again, there's no reason for me to give 10 shits who the fuck it is. You could replace anybody. You could have brought anybody over from Japan. Any fucking woman over, replaced it, done the exact same match, and I would have felt the exact same. I would have been like, cool. What's the main event? Because, like, there was no reason to give a fuck. At least if Penelope Ford would have murdered somebody and made us uncomfortable, we would have been like, stop. Please don't hurt her anymore.
And now I like her. Yeah.
Or they did that to Penelope Ford or something, right? Like, give me something to care. Because when it's just like, it's a fucking circus act when all it is like, zip, zap, flip, flap, woo, look at me. And then they just fucking leave the ring and I don't see them until AEW Dark Elevation 3 weeks from now. Like, I need something here. Like, that's why, like, I just don't care. Like, why I don't get from the wrestling fans why this is efficient for you, why this is satisfactory for you guys to be like, I love this. Did you guys see fill in the blank other person from Japan that they brought in. It's like,
Yeah, the other.
you mean the other person who can,
pound?
the other person who can also do 3 flips? Like, guys, like these moves are not, they are impressive in that like you and I can't do them, but they're not unheard of. Whereas like they're Olympians where they're the only people who can.
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
Yeah, it almost becomes like a Major League Baseball player doing a diving catch in the outfield. Like, it's impressive because I can't do it, but every center fielder in Major League Baseball can do that. So eventually, it's not like top 10, plays of the week anymore, right?
Right.
Yeah, I just thought, for me though, I just thought it was all babyface winning tonight. Aren't we back on the road? Hey, everyone loves the babyface. And I was like, we could have done one thing to make the crowd boo, because we didn't. And as we talk about that, let's go into our main event. It was the coffin match. All Ego Ethan Page versus Darby Allin. Now, we've talked about this in the past. Darby Allin's had some main events on Dynamite, and they have been showcasing star-making performances, right? The TNT Championship matches that he had, even his loss to Miro, he still looked like $1 million. This one, though, felt as if it was, hey, we all know Darby Allin's fucking crazy, but did you know that Ethan Page likes to kill people? Because we're going to show you that. Because he's going to try to fucking murder Darby Allin. So I thought this was really like hey, Ethan Page is a player here in AEW.
Yes, I thought this was great. The whole match, these two, Ethan Page shown a lot. You're right here. Went a long way for me getting behind him. Like I want to see more now. My takeaway is Darby Allin with that coffin drop at the end, like through the thing. That was not a gimmicked up like thing well enough. Like he could have seriously hurt himself. Yeah. Like those sides were solid fucking wood that like if he would have landed on one of those on the spine, like he could have not wrestled again. Like if he would have hit his neck on one of those.
Yeah. I would not have been shocked if backstage, if we were a fly on the wall backstage after this match, Tony Khan walks up and is like, Darby, what in the fuck? And he's like, I just felt like doing it.
I ran it by Ethan, and because you can kind of see Ethan like knew to get away. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like prepare, but like holy shit, I was like, that's not like. It's one thing to do that spot, but when I saw the construction of the device and the little room for error he had to not get seriously injured while doing it, was insane.
Yeah. So before we get more into that finish, let's talk about the start of the match. So the start of the match has Ethan Page's best friend, 47-year-old Scorpio Sky, try to beat up Darby Allin, and that brings out Darby Allin's dad, Sting, and that got a huge pop because it's always fun to see Sting. And this was a good spot to use Sting, right? Sting didn't get a promo or the snow. It was just, hey, gonna help out a friend. Again, they go into the crowd. Maybe not great for a 61-year-old guy to go into a crowd during COVID, but whatevs. And they go wrestling off. And then
I think Sting is vaccinated. I feel like he could go either way.
Yeah, wouldn't be shocked either way.
Yeah,
I would hope so though.
Yeah.
But
get vaccinated.
Get vaccinated. I think Big Josh says he is. So good job on you, Big Josh. Awesome job.
It's because Big Josh is awesome. He knows what the fuck he's doing.
He is awesome. Great guy. He is waxed and vaxxed and ready for a hot boy summer.
Vaccinated and caffeinated, baby. I stole that from Kevin Gill from his post earlier.
Come on.
Yeah.
Kevin Gill. Shout out to our good friend Kevin Gill. But what the spot I wanted to talk to you about was before the coffin drop, which was insane, is the use of the turnbuckle hook from both guys. So the Darby Allin uses the thing on Ethan Page. That looked like it hurt, but we can obviously see some maneuvering to where it's like not really hooking him.
Well, and you can just fake, pull, you let go, but you keep your arms going. Yeah.
But the spot where Ethan Page hooked it on Darby Allin's necklace and just said, "Come here, motherfucker." It looked like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat doing the "come here."
I was like, dude, you might have actually hurt his trachea. Like, you got to stop that. Yeah.
I swear. So I've seen their Evolve matches. And again, watching this match here, there has to be some type of gentleman's agreement where Ethan Page is like, Darby, are you sure? And Darby's like, just buy me dinner afterwards and you can do whatever you want. And Ethan Page is like, okay.
Yeah.
And he just fucks him up almost to where it feels like we should have someone stop this and like cut. Like, because Ethan Page actually wants to kill this guy.
it was uncomfortable at times, and it was perfect for it. Again, it helped because coffin match sounds a lot like you're doing a casket match. You know what I mean? But they made it not really about that. Like, they didn't go to that well too many times, right? They didn't like hover over the coffin 40 times, right? They did a few spots.
Spooky. Yeah,
they didn't make it spooky.
Yeah.
It was on brand, but like they hit that. But then they also had brutality outside of that. Like it was basically a hardcore match, just with a coffin at the end, and it was great. And then that spot at the end was
very, very entertaining. So, Tim, we've just talked about Fyter Fest Night 1. You've obviously watched it twice, so we know how you feel about it. So, Fyter Fest Night 2, are your expectations like off the charts right now?
Yes, if we're getting that, 5-man elimination match, if that's a thing, if we're getting the damn Texas death match where somebody's going to wind up Texas dead, which is a great line.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, we did not mention, because I forgot to put it here in my notes, we had a backstage promo from Miro, who debuted the new title.
Oh, my God. Hold on. One of the best promos of the night, too, in that it starts with him going, let me tell you a story. There was once a guy who was rich, had a hot wife who can do the splits. The man was hot, too, but he was lost, right? Like, Jesus, being classic Miro. And then goes into, he was like, this was my reward, right? After, like, he's like, I'm not a monster. Like, I forgave everybody that I destroyed. And he's like, and this is my reward because I'm God's favorite champion, right? And he says, because everyone knows the greatest champions defend their titles with their lives. I defend this with yours. And I was just like, God damn it. Like, he's fucking great. He manages to be funny, but also, like, I don't want that guy to be near me. Like, I want to make sure that guy's not in the same room as me.
So hopefully we get Fyter Fest Night 2. We get a TNT Championship match because, again, these promos are awesome, but I want to see Miro kill someone.
Maybe we get Cody Malachi Black. I mean, maybe not. Maybe they're still going to lead to that. That's probably going to be all out.
That's going to be all out.
But we'll get something there. We'll get a blowout there.
I think a Miro taking on a Chuck Taylor, someone of that ilk, I think would be great. But I want to see Miro next week. I want to see what the belt looks like outside of just a backstage promo, because this is like version 6.7. I think there's been more versions of the TNT Championship than there's been.
I like the look of this one though. So because it's so silver in the middle, right? When I saw it, I liked the look of it better than the black one. So like, I hope that's more the default one. I like that. I like the Intercontinental Championship in WWE did this for a while, especially with the Warrior, where they could change. And
did Cody bring back the white when he?
Cody brought back the white, right?
Yeah. So
the white is a clean look. You know what I mean? Especially when you have so much silver on the belt, right? So
I will say though, good luck to whoever has that belt for being back on the road, because white is hard to keep clean. So good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope to see Miro. I haven't looked ahead at what Night 2 has been announced yet, but man, if Night 2 is like Night 1, we might be doing a 3-hour segment or a 3-hour podcast about one segment of that show, because it was incredible. Guys, call me whatever you want. I don't give a shit. This is the most fun I have had.
Motherfucker.
Watching, sure, I don't care.
Dick face.
Whatever.
You son of a bitch. All right, no.
The 2 hours goes by so quick, and I'm having so much fun. I just love it.
Yeah, it is.
I just love it.
That's why I watched it a second time. And again, like the whole way through, a second time is unheard of for a show to be that fun, for especially curmudgeons like us.
Yeah, and again, the things that I point out where it's like Cody and Malachi Black don't look like they're really fighting each other, which they didn't. But like, that's not even bad. That's just me being an ass, because I'm an ass.
Yeah.
Like, I love this so much, guys. I love it.
I love it too. All right, well, let's transition away from something that we love into something that maybe we're not going to love as much. But we're going to talk about it because it's one of the best events, I think, of WWE that we like conceptually, and it's the Money in the Bank this weekend. Tom, remind you, as you can see behind us here, it looks like they still have the smaller Money in the Bank for the ladies. Slightly smaller.
They got small hands.
Slightly smaller. But Money in the Bank. So we're going to hit that. Let's talk about some NXT, because what we don't have right now for time purposes some business dealings that we have to handle on the backside of this. For a Tweet the Table segment. But I want to shout out Big Josh in the chat right now, and he had 2 NXT tweets, so that'll cover some hot topics from NXT before we cover the Money Bank, because they don't have a thing, right? They're not doing a conjunction, no. Right? He says, at the Rebel Trucker says, hashtag Tweet the Table. I see Kyle O'Reilly channeling his inner Dustin Poirier. Is that right? With that little interview of his tonight on hashtag NXT. You're going to have to tell me, because I don't know much about the Dustin Poirier.
Dustin Poirier, one of the best guys going. My favorite fighter. Beat Conor McGregor for a second time in a row. Conor McGregor snapping his ankle after kicking Dustin Poirier, and Poirier blocking it with his elbow, separating his ankle, and then Conor McGregor steps back, separates and breaks his ankle. Loved it. Good. Couldn't have happened to a worse guy. Absolutely loved that moment. But Dustin Poirier is just every man's man. He goes in there. He works hard. He's not necessarily a journeyman, but he's not out of the gym. He's going to be there every day. He'll do your, fun interviews and things like that. But what he's here to do is fight. He doesn't care about the outside things.
And Kyle O'Reilly's promo, I mean, like I think Cole even called it out later in the show where he's like, because he was like, you win some, you lose some. And then, Cole, I like, he's like, yeah, you lose some if your name is Kyle O'Reilly. like, Adam Cole, baby, ain't losing. I like that. But I don't know. I'm falling out of love with Adam Cole lately and the Kyle O'Reilly, I guess.
Again, a lot of pro wrestling is the full package of what you're presenting. One of the best things about Bobby Roode in NXT was his fucking entrance, right? And even though he was the NXT champion, if you were to switch that entrance to whatever generic music you could find, people would start to go like, what? Nah, I don't like that. And I feel like you had the whole thing there, especially now that we're going back on the road.
Nakamura, when they changed his music up there, people were like,
but that was because he was heel, right?
Right.
Like it was supposed to stop singing, right? So I get that one. But with Adam Cole, you're supposed to do the boom and all the stuff, and now you got some shit ass fucking music.
Yeah, it's so bad.
So then you go into it just going like, and then he does great. He's
remember Adam Rose when they changed the Adam Rose song and it tanked. It tanked because it was the song. It wasn't Adam Rose. We know that now, right? But it was the song. Same thing with this Adam Cole. Like part of that whole entrance was the boom. You know what I mean? Like you're fucking like, yes, I want to fucking cheer for this guy. You know what I mean? And eat some meat. Like you just like, you know what I mean? It fueled you.
Level. That's what I'm saying. So you're at that level. So then when you're falling down a couple notches, Adam Cole is still cutting great promos. Probably the best consistent promo guy they have in all of WWE, in my opinion. And so he cuts a great promo, but now, usually you start at an 8 and he'll take you to a 10 with the promo and the match. But now because the package of him walking out takes you down to a 6, he gets you to an 8, and then you go, I don't like being here. I thought I was at a 10. And then you kind of go like, does this suck? And you're like, well, no, I'm just missing the whole thing, right? It's like eating a hamburger and not having ketchup on it. You're like, the hamburger's fine, but what happened to the ketchup? And like, that's what the whole entrance is doing is we need it all back. Pay the fucking group C, whatever they are, pay them because we need the Adam Cole full experience. And this isn't it. And he's doing great, but yeah, his promos, or excuse me, his storyline is kind of directionless, and again, not the full experience.
And we here at the Spanish Announce Table demand some clarification as to exactly what the fuck happened to the ketchup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you eat a burger, you're like, what? Huh? Ketchup. Where the fuck ketchup at?
And let me remind you, this fun conversation was fueled by hashtag Tweet the Table. Normally we do a big, long segment. I'll put up a graphic. I'll show your tweet to the whole world, but time crunch, we're just going to hit a few of them. But go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net. If you don't follow us on Twitter, the social media links are there. We're at Table Show. You don't even have to follow us. You just use hashtag Tweet the Table when you're talking wrestling. And boy, we're going to read it right here live. Fucking live. Fucking Sid Vicious live, baby. One more from the Rebel Trucker, and then we'll move on. He says, hashtag Tweet the Table. Wait, Samoa Joe has been provoked. Night carrying. Hashtag WWE NXT. Yeah, hashtag Tweet the Table, right? Yeah. Whew. Ooh.
Okay. Can we, I think I've brought this up before, but what, and can anyone explain to me why the fuck Karrion Kross has bad hearing when he puts on a rear naked choke and he has to cover one fucking ear? I do not understand. What in the fuck
Is
do you
that
think you're doing?
is the idea that like
Nothing?
nobody can reach
No.
back and punch you? Because then you're like holding.
No
you
one
know what I mean?
does that.
No one does that.
No one does that. I've never seen that. I've watched jiu-jitsu for 15 years.
Maybe one time he did it in a fight, and a guy reached back, punched him right in the ear, and it like rung his bell. So after that, he's like, "Fuck that, never again."
I don't know.
Never again. Hashtag
It
never forget.
Yeah, it looks so fucking stupid. I just
Yeah.
kind of like how you do with the matches, and like the guy goes like this. When he fucking does the ear, I'm done. I don't know what you're doing.
It's just like
Not
nobody
good.
would do that in a real,
Yeah. And
That
so-
one's a little more forgivable than like nobody would like purposely position themselves better for somebody to hit them when they're half
Yeah,
knocked
that's
out.
true. Yes.
Why wouldn't you
But
just
it's
get up?
Yeah,
Why wouldn't you
it
just get the fuck up or keep rolling out of the way?
It just takes me out of the moment. But it was cool, right? He beat up Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe looked like a fucking cherry.
Another spot we saw was Samoa Joe in the back get confronted by Pete fucking Dunne. Pete Dunne fucking just like fucking looks at him and is like, bitch. And fucking, I love it. And Samoa Joe's like, fuck that guy. Right? Like, oh, that's headed to, I hope Joe can get back in the ring soon because that match is coming. He's going to have this blow off with Cross. There's Adam Cole bound to go on. Some fun matches going on.
There is. And
You
then
know what else-
also,
yeah.
another main event person before we go into our picks that I think we're going to talk about during Money in the Bank. But what do you think about Mandy Rose?
Oh, yeah.
The fuck is that?
So the first time I've ever liked Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke tag team segment that I even sent you, and now that tag team's just done. Like Nia Jax shoved her into a locker, and I was like, that was fun. More of that. And then we might still get some of that. Not Nia Jax, it was Tamina. We might still get more of that from Tamina, maybe shoving ladies into lockers. But look, great. We were not going to run with Mandy Rose in any kind of major title picture on Raw, so fine.
Yeah.
Raw, SmackDown, whatever it is. Fucking, so.
I like it though. I like that it's hey, you never know who's gonna show up. I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I like that too. I like look, if this is the AA or whatever the fuck they call that in baseball, right? The next step down, right?
Triple A.
AAA, then folks are going to go down. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to send some folks down. And it's not always like, it's not always that it's like, you suck, you need remedial training. It's sometimes your confidence will do better if you can shine in a moment and try something that we would have to squash because you're facing Charlotte. But if you can build up here beating Dakota Kai, you know what I mean? Then we can take it when you've established yourself a little more foothold, right? So sometimes it's, and that same way with the baseball metaphor is like, look, sometimes you need to try a new throwing style and you're going to get murdered out here trying it, but you can try it down there and not get murdered and your confidence won't degrade to nothing, right?
Yeah,
so
we need you to develop a curveball down in AAA,
Right.
and then once you get it perfected, then bring it back up here to the majors.
Right. So I like that. And I mean, again, be a boss bitch down there. NXT could use some stories. So let's try it. Let's try it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Money in the Bank. We like the Money in the Bank. I don't even mind it being its own. I know we talk about the gimmick matches shouldn't be a pay-per-view every year, but I like this one being that because it's got a prize, right? And it's a prize that can be year-round. They don't have to immediately – they can wait, strike when the iron's hot, right? They don't have to immediately pay off with it. So this one doesn't bother me as much as like a Hell in a Cell or an Elimination Chamber or a – right? Like I like this idea where Money in the Bank's yearly. If you're not going to do it, like it's always at Mania, that have its own pay-per-view.
I just wonder because last year, if you recall, they did the two matches at the same time, right? It was the climb to the top.
Yeah,
They did the
that
men
was
and
really
women.
weird.
Well, but you did it once. So do you like? Is that the Money in the Bank match?
I don't think
is
so.
where we do.
I think we're
why
going to get
not?
2 Money in the Bank. No, I think as a matter of fact, I'm going to read right here from WWE.com, and it looks like they're booking it as 2 separate matches.
Nah,
So let's get into some predictions here. Let's talk. Yeah.
better.
Raw
Take it
Tag
away.
Team Championships are on the line. AJ Styles and Almost versus the Viking Raiders. I mean, like, this isn't terrible. I just.
I don't know. Here's the thing. AJ and Amos are not doing enough stuff to where I dislike them. They're just doing superficial things that says, oh, I'm supposed to not like them. And the Viking Raiders
making fun of people and shoving people is not, again, what we talked about, the sub-level.
Yeah. It's not dastardly. It's
Did
not
I do that in the supermarket?
Yeah, it's not Ethan Page taking the hook of the turnbuckle into someone's mouth or whatever it is, you know?
I push kids on the playground all the time. I don't care.
I do it on a Tuesday. Watch me on a Tuesday. I'll be pushing kids off of slides. But then the Viking Raiders aren't. Look, I think their characters are ruined after what they did with the Street Profits at the start of the pandemic. With we do bowling and we eat chicken wings and stuff. Fuck your characters. You can never come back from that. You guys are bitches. Fucking come up with something new. Because what they're doing now just looks like fucking
bitches. He said
they are. I would fucking smack the taste out of their mouth if they walked up to me with that fucking paint and all that shit in the version that they are now. Because they're fucking
one of them's like a fucking Trumper 5G conspiracy theorist back.
The real stuff. Fuck them. But I'm saying like the characters. If those characters,
yes, of course, right.
Now, I'd be like,
they're comedy characters. Yeah,
fuck out of here. Fat
they're the
guys.
Bushwhackers 2.0.
Perfect. That is a perfect analogy. Man, great job. And so I just don't like them. Because
everybody could tweet me at The Awesome Voice on Twitter. Tell me how great that was, like Tom did. Like, feel free. I will like it. I might retweet it.
Which one's the Trumper?
You have to ask Justin. He knows. But I think it's the bald one.
Damn it.
He's got the guy that looks like the tattoos where you're like, are those racist?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you're like.
To the old wrestling girl. She's not old, but she used to work for WWE and then she got fired.
Yes, but then who's Nikki Cross? She's with Killian Dane.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. All them Irish Vikings are all, all the Irish and the Vikings. They're all mixing it. Yeah, look, I think AJ Styles and Omos still win.
Oh, yeah, a pick. Yeah, fuck it, who cares? Yeah, AJ and Omos.
I mean, I can see the Viking Raiders with a tag team title but they're not going to beat Omos. They're going to have Omos be. They think, again, if they think they're going to this Marvel style, like superstar characters that jump off the screen, Omos is going to be shoved down our throats worse than Braun Strowman was.
Yeah. Omos is good. They're going to lose the tag team championships as soon as they decide to do Omos versus AJ Styles.
By December of 2022, Omos will have had a world title run.
Mark it.
Yep,
we're going to mark it.
And not deserve it. Like, everybody will hate it. Everybody will be like, boo this.
Yeah.
And it'll just go on. Raw Women's Championship is on the line. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair in a why do we care about either of these? Like, they both hate each other and they're both mean to each other. Why do we care that the Mean Girls are fighting?
Double knockout. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to watch this match.
Ring the bell. They both punch each other. Knockout. Count of 10. It's over. Let's go.
It's over. I'm not going to watch this. I do not care if you tweet me and say, did you check out the Charlotte did a 368.50 splat? I don't fucking care. The story is insulting. It's stupid. It's meaningless. I am not going to watch it. Therefore, fuck this match. I really hate it. This is the worst thing in wrestling. This storyline is this. Again, if we're doing the pendulum, if Hangman and Kenny Omega and the Roman Reigns head of the table storyline is over here, Charlotte and Ripley and then Nikki Cross as a superhero is over here. That's the ends of the spectrum.
All right. Well, all right.
Who are you picking?
Charlotte.
Ah.
I think they're going to be like, Rhea, you need some work. You're not going to be the one to run. And Charlotte will be able to hold the title. And Nikki, the superhero, is going to take her on.
I don't like it.
Oh, well, let's talk about the Money in the Bank ladder match for the women. We've got Zelina Vega. I don't know why. We've got Asuka. We've got Naomi. We've got Alexa Bliss. We've got Nikki Ash, which is a thing. We've got...
Hold up. What?
It's Nikki Ash. Nikki Cross's name is now Nikki Ash because Ash stands for almost a superhero. That's said on TV. Yeah. You just now...
So I heard the Ash, but I thought it was like the game Triple H. We're saying fuck the name Cross. It's Ash. Get the fuck.
Here, let me see what they've got written on here. They've got Nikki Ash with A.S.H. written on WWE.com right now. Right now.
I hate this company.
Nikki Ash.
That is insulting. That is
Almost a superhero. Almost superhero. Not even almost. It would be AASH if it was almost super. But anyway, Liv Morgan, and then Tamina, and Natty. This is almost like when you learned that Ziggler and Rude were named the Dirty Dogs.
That was still the dumbest fucking thing. This is the same level of stupidity. What in the fuck? The Dirty Dogs. Good God. What is that, an STD they caught? Liv Morgan I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
So, Bayley gets hurt. So then Bianca Belair needs an opponent. So they pluck Carmella out of the Money in the Bank to say, Carmella, you know what? We need a challenger. Fine. You versus Bianca Belair. And that's all fine. But then Liv Morgan pounds down the ring and says, hey, Sonya Deville, I deserve it. And she goes, you know what? All your hard work, you do. You get the replacement spot. And then Liv Morgan is like, oh, well, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. Can I get $3 more, please? Can I get some food for the weekend?
Yeah, it was bad.
Fuck out of here. Like, you look like a piece of shit, Liv Morgan. Fucking, I hate this.
I think Nikki Ash is winning this.
Oh, who is it again? Asuka.
Zelina, Asuka, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Ash, Liv Morgan is another solid choice, and then the tag team champs.
I'm going Alexa Bliss. I think she's gonna design
Think
it
Alexa
all
Bliss?
up like a playground. We're gonna sell those as lunch boxes.
I think they're going face, and I think it's either going to be Liv Morgan or it's going to be Nikki Ash. I think it's going to be Nikki Ash. She's going to have the Money in the Bank. She's going to like treat it like, you know what I mean? Like, and they're going to have Charlotte go on a run of being the evil queen with all of her fucking dress up, fucking Disney character, evil queens and shit. And
yeah, I'm going Alexa Bliss just because I think, what I hope at least, is that, let's say Charlotte wins, which again, I don't give a fuck. And she goes like, I'm the baddest bitch. And then just the dark cloud that hangs over her head is the Money in the Bank and the creepy girl in the corner that's just behind her and all the promos and all that stuff. And they run with that for a while. But I don't give a fuck.
all right, well, let's talk about the men's version of this. Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle, Ricochet, the most moisty superstar in all of WWE, Johnny Drip Drip, Big E, Kingsuke Nakamura, and Seth Rollins. This is a great crew of folks for this match. Don't get me wrong. The Drew McIntyre feels out of place, and so does Seth Rollins.
McIntyre, what a fall from grace of this time last year, like champion. Oh my God. Can't wait to see what Drew McIntyre does next, to now just cutting fucking Loch Ness Monster promos and talking about knives and
Again,
shit.
Why do I care about personal property vandalism? They keep doing that. Sword breakings. Okay, well, now I'm going to break up your motorcycle. Do they have polling or data that would suggest that people get really furious when I see somebody else's property get damaged? I just get really mad about that, and I really care, and it makes me want to pay money to see somebody get their ass kicked. Where the fuck did they come up with this idea? It feels like somebody fucked up Vince's car when he was younger, and he couldn't do anything about it, and now he feels like that's what a superhero does.
Yeah. Hey, AEW does it too. Remember the limo that the Inner Circle took out? Yeah, if you have no attachment to what the item is, who gives a fuck if it gets broke? I don't give a shit.
Dude,
there you go.
I assume Jinder Mahal has 5 fucking motorcycles. Like, I don't.
What the fuck does he care about that one? Okay, let's go with picks, though.
All right, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle, Ricochet, Johnny Drip Drip, Big E, Kingsuke, and Seth. So, all right, I'm going to walk through some of these. Kingsuke. Nah, right? Already the king. Johnny Drip
Corbin
Drip.
will take him out.
Johnny Drip Drip, they're not going to do that. He's the second guy to the Miz all the time. He's not going to be a top guy.
Well, him and Ricochet will take each other out.
Seth Rollins, I feel like they can plug him into a main event match anytime. So I don't see it unless he, like, lobbies for it. Ricochet, I feel like they're behind for some reason. I feel like a dark horse, but, Drew, nah. Kevin Owens, nah. Riddle, I don't think. He could have fun with it, but I don't. So I'm down to like Riddle, Big E, Ricochet, maybe Seth Rollins. I'm going to say Big E wins it.
I think Big E as well.
Yeah.
I think it could be fun depending on the placement of this match. What happens to Seth Rollins? I wouldn't be shocked if Seth Rollins costs Edge the match because he wanted that match against Roman, and then you fast forward to the Money in the Bank, and then Edge costs Seth Rollins the Money in the Bank because you've got my business. So that gets rid of Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins and Edge are going to do something. They keep on hinting at it with these promos and you haven't changed and I've never forgot, yada, 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 all that stuff. I think after you get through Edge for Roman Reigns, who the fuck else is there? And so I think you have to elevate someone, and I think the only guy really that's capable right now is Big E. So I'm going Big E. Now, I'm also going Big E for another reason. Let's say, breaking kayfabe here, internally, they go like, fuck, we are so fucked on Raw. What do we do? Well, Big E can either, one, avenge the loss of Kofi Kingston and go up against Bobby Lashley, because, haha, this goes against anyone. Or say, hey, fuck you, Kofi. You had your moment now twice. I want mine. And then they do something fun. So Big E can do either one.
All right, well, let's move into that WWE Championship match, Bobby Lashley versus Kofi Kingston, because one of two things is happening here at the end of this match.
Ooh.
Xavier Woods is turning heel,
Ooh.
or both Kofi and Xavier Woods are turning heel with Kofi winning this match, and MVP is now leading the New Day on a heel run against Bobby Lashley.
Ooh.
One of those two things is happening, and I don't know yet.
Look at that little coffee store.
So either Lashley, the reason I don't think it's just Xavier Woods and he joins Lashley and MVP is because the Hurt Business isn't really like a faction now, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think the New Day might turn heel now. MVP gives Lashley the old, well, bam, right? The old Tennessee testicle twister, and then he's now running the New Day as though Hurt Business style, right? And it's a new day.
Oh, and you could easily do that with Bobby Lashley's in a position of power to like maybe do a power slam or whatever his Hurt Lock is or whatever. And
The Hurt Lock. He's got the Hurt Lock in, and MVP comes up, gives him the Ric Flair.
What I was thinking is, he gives Kofi the Hurt Lock, right? For whatever reason, and we all get confused, MVP just walks up to the apron and gets the ref's attention, and we're like, the fuck? And then Bobby Lashley throws Kofi to the ground and is like looking at MVP. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then Xavier Woods comes up underneath him and gets him the Kansas City punt. And then Kofi gets the win, and Bobby looks at MVP. He's like, what the fuck was all that about? And then Kofi and Xavier Woods put the boots to Bobby Lashley. Then they all stand over him. Ha ha ha. We got a new champ. The Hurt Business is back in business.
Well, because then the dynamic becomes, they said that the New Day never broke up. Like, they're just on different brands. So then Big E could be like, dude, what the hell, guys? You didn't talk to me about this. And be like,
what are you talking about? We're all
we didn't need to talk to you. Like, you get it. You know what's
just
up.
Like, what are you talking about? We're all successful. You're the Money in the Bank champion. Kofi's the heavyweight champion. Isn't this great? We're all having fun.
Yeah.
And Big E.
So those little seeds, and then we'll see. They said they'd never break up. But now Big E's like, to say your prayers and.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, again, or he could just go, they could do that on Raw, and then Big E could
but
just
then,
do
because think of the showdown. If Kofi's got the fucking title, they're now heel, they got MVP, and Big E's standing there with the Money in the Bank, and he's like, hey, what? I thought we were like, you didn't tell me about this, and be like, oh, we didn't want to burden you. You had a big match, man. We didn't want you to thinking about our stuff. Like, and he's like, okay. And he's like looking at it, and then he's like looking at the title, and he's like, they could do some fun stuff. They won't. Fucking Lashley's going to win.
Right, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. So,
Lashley's going to win cold. All right, Roman Reigns versus Edge. Now, I can see Edge winning this. I think they want Edge to fucking have a title run. I think they do for fucking Fox, and I think like a short-lived, I could see it, but Roman Reigns is going to win this.
Yeah. Edge and Seth Rollins are doing some fun stuff. So they got to hang out at SummerSlam fighting each other.
Well, so Seth Rollins could win the Money in the Bank. Edge could, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. But then what would Roman do? Oh, do a 2-on-1 against both Usos.
Work on his plan to get back, right? Like he's got the head, you know what I mean? Like it's now his storyline to get back there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I still think it's Roman.
Yeah, me too.
The Usos are interesting right now because the fuck do you do? Because they've done all of it.
And there's also the monkey wrench of legal cases on the backside.
You don't have to fucking discipline.
But you can always, like, look, they're in and out half the time, so one can disappear for a while. It's fine.
Yeah. Or and you also can say, hey, you're punished, but you need to finish this out. We're going to punish you in November and then still do your fucking story.
Yeah, then you'll get your hog pen match.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, good callback. But yeah, no, I got Roman Reigns.
All right.
Roman Reigns ain't losing until Rock.
Wild card ass fun pick then. What's the shocking, crazy thing that you're not expecting that's going to happen?
Double knockout. Charlotte versus Rhea. No.
All right, that's it. I want everybody to go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net. Click the shop now, buy this shirt. Hit us up on Table Show. Tweet the table. Tom, you got any parting words before we get the fuck out of here?
Just don't watch the Rhea Ripley Charlotte match. If you guys really hate it like you guys say you do and like I do, just don't support it. Don't talk about it. Ignore it. That's what gets people to change.
And somebody tell us what happened to the ketchup.
The Spanish Announce Table.